Well, hello there, everyone. This is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. It's great to be with you on Inspirations for Your Life. We have an amazing show for you again tonight, but do want to let you know that the big reveal of the book's title will be, uncovered this Friday. That's this week, depending on when you're watching this. If you're watching this after the reveal, which is the 17th, well, then my book is already available. But 1:30 p.m. is when we're going to do the big reveal. We're going to interview my parents. We're going to get their insights, and I think you're going to really like it. All right, guys, so we'll dive into the show here in just a second. If it's your first time here, I want to say welcome, and I want to say thank you. If you've been here many times before, well, of course, welcome back, and thank you for coming back. Really do appreciate that. Feel free to grab yourself something like water, a snack. I got something different today. I got a fruit pop, which is really cool. They were reasonable. You put them in the freezer. They're not frozen when you get them. Then you take them out, and then you kind of, they're really good. So I might be having that in between. All right, guys. So let's kick this off. If you haven't yet checked out believemeachieve.com, go check that out after the show. This is Inspirations for Your Life. It's Monday. Yes, it's Monday. And it's not the start of our week. It may be the start of your week, but we start our weeks on Saturday and we finish up on Friday. And our granular is why small inputs create big results. And by the way, it's Series 5, Show 16, Episode 3. Gotta have some more of this. This is really good. So, those of you that aren't watching me, you basically kind of chew on the plastic a little bit and very good. All right. So the master topic for the week is how people actually change their direction without realizing it. So how people change direction is rarely about one big decision. It is about small inputs, repeat actions, and guys, pattern interrupts that quietly build over time. Hey guys, if you don't know who I am by now, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, engineer, marketing specialist, video producer, podcast host, coach, keynote speaker, graduate student, and a passionate lifelong learner. And soon, if it has not hit April 17th yet, then I'm not an author. But if it is April 17th after 1:30 p.m., then I am an author, and it's great to be one. All right, guys. So let's get into something most people completely misunderstand. They think results comes from big moves, big risks, big decisions, but that is not how direction actually changes. Direction changes through small inputs repeated over time. And the reason most people never see it is because it feels too small to matter. So they don't even bother until it actually does. I have some more. This is really good. Most ice pops, when you have them, you take them out and they're all sticky and a mess. Well, this one is in a plastic little kind of sleeve. And it makes it really easy to not only to eat it, but it doesn't get very messy. And then you can push it up from the bottom like this. Very unique design. And the way they do it is they come two in one. So when you get the package, you freeze it, but then you cut the center of each tube and you basically have two in one. All right, guys. So the main content, I know that's what you're here for. Small inputs compound what feels insignificant. And it now multiplies into something much larger over time. I think a lot of people don't realize that. Tiny actions scale. Repetition turns simple effort into meaningful results. And you probably wouldn't believe me until it actually happens to you. That's the truth. Most people are like, I don't believe that. We don't have to believe it. But when it happens to you, you're going to be like, wow, I didn't realize that. Yeah, that's how that works. So hopefully you will appreciate that when that happens to you someday soon. Number 3, consistency beats intensity. What you repeat matters more than what you do once. Let me say that again. What you repeat matters more than what you do once. What you repeat matters more than what you do once. Number 4, guys, minor shifts create major outcomes. Just a little bit more of this pop left. Wow, it's really good. And it's not a mess. It's really great. So the thing about this is that the direction changes through small adjustments. I'll call them micro adjustments. I remember in my senior year working on a project for a manufacturer, and they were manufacturing blades. And our project was to basically take these servo motors and to put, let's say, little servo micro adjustment motors on each one of these mechanical wheels you would normally dial by hand. And what would happen after let's say, every so many thousand of these blades that got kicked out? Well, the tolerance would be off, and then an adjustment would be made, and then one or two would be basically be thrown out, and then it's recalibrated again. So it would keep checking. The laser would keep checking the precision of the blade, but about every so many thousand of these, it would have to make a quick, you have to make a quick adjustment, and it could sometimes get it right, like almost immediately. But once in a while, it would have to pause and stop and do another one. But that's not bad. About maybe a 2 or 3 second calibration automatically just by a laser. I mean, that's really cool if you ask me. Number five, guys, small habits build identity. What you do becomes who you are. Let me say that again. What you do becomes who you are. Number six, micro decisions shape direction. Every choice slightly alters your path. It does. Progress, number seven, is invisible. Early growth hides before it shows. And I know that sometimes makes people want to give up. They're like, I don't know what it is. I don't know how to figure this out. You can figure it out. Okay. You can figure it out. But people just, they basically see it, but they ignore it. And they're not doing this intentionally. The subconscious is doing this. Number eight, guys, repetition builds momentum. Action become easier the more they are repeated. You know that, right? The more you practice a sport, the more you practice different things, the easier it is. And then the end of this tube, there's a little bit of the ice left. Mm. Saw the napkin, but no mess. I mean, I think that's great. And these weren't even that expensive, and they come in a big package, and you put them in the freezer, and within several hours, they're ready to use. I mean, and the nice thing about it is that it's perfect for summertime. They're not like traditional pops where you have to take them out of the bag, right? You take them out of the box, then you undo the paper, and then it's all a mess usually, and it's all sticky, and you want to throw the paper out before it gets over your hands, and you're kind of licking the pop and biting it. But it's different. This is a different kind of pop. Your hand stays protected the whole time you're working with it. That's just really cool. Number nine, guys, small wins reinforce behavior. Success builds through feedback loops. We were just talking about this before with a client about weight gain and weight loss. Sometimes people eat for a variety of different reasons. Sometimes you're under stress and you may eat more, not knowing that you're doing this. You're using it as a coping mechanism. And the other thing we were talking about is that when you eat, you need to eat slowly. This isn't a weight loss show today, but when you eat, you need to eat slowly, because if you don't eat slowly, okay, even though your stomach is full, it's not going to send that signal to your brain to say, hey, I'm full, no more. And so you keep eating and eating and eating because you're eating so fast that your stomach's not going to get a chance to say, hey, wait a minute, I'm full, I'm full, I'm full, I'm full. You've probably gone some places and maybe you've been bloated. That's because you're eating too fast. That's an important thing. And so maybe you've gone to places where they have brownies or cookies or sweets, and the sweets or brownies are not even that good. Okay, they're not even that good. They're not gourmet, but you keep stuffing your face with them. Why? Because you're in a feedback loop. And certain food is designed to be ultra palative for your mouth and brains. You like the feeling, even though it might not be the greatest. So we have to stay in control. Another good trick that I've learned is that if you want to curb your dessert, you have your small portions for your dinner as you normally would, but people don't usually have problems with that. So when you get to dessert, before you have dessert, have a gelatin and let it wait a little bit. Maybe have a tea or whatever else you're going to have, and then wait 5, 10, or 15 minutes, and then have your dessert. And you'll find that you're actually going to be full a lot quicker. Yeah. So when we do things too quickly, our body is like, wait a minute. That's why if you've been eat so much, and then all of a sudden maybe you've gone to a pizza restaurant. I mean, I did this when I was younger, and you leave, and then suddenly you're bloated. Because what happens is you keep eating, but then suddenly the food from before is like finally catching up. So you want to eat slowly so you can enjoy and savor all the flavors, and so that your brain can get the signal from your stomach, say, hey, wait a minute, I'm full, no more, no more. Okay. Number 10, compounding feels slow at first. Results will appear later. I promise you this, but don't give up when you don't see results. All right. Not immediately. Not immediately. All right. Not immediately. Number 11, daily inputs shape trajectory. Your path is built day by day. Day by day. That's pretty wild. But it's another truth. Number 12, guys, what you repeat grows attention, expands what you focus on. I've said before that what we put our attention on, right, our thoughts on, that's where the energy is going to go. And you do this subconsciously. So whatever you focus on gets greater in your life. Number 13, guys, small changes reduce resistance. Easier actions create consistency. Easier actions create consistency. It's better to do something small consistently over time than to do a lot of things and do them sporadically. Number 14, simplicity sustains progress. Simplicity sustains progress. Complex plans often fail over time, guys. They often fail over time. They may not fail right now, but they will fail over time because of, well, the nature of it. It could be because other people are involved. It could be a lot of reasons, right? A lot of reasons. But history has shown us that they will fail over time. So we want to keep things simple. Number 15, guys, small effort removes overwhelm. Starting small keeps you moving. Starting small keeps you moving. We want you to keep moving. We want you to be consistent. People say, oh, well, John, I'm not getting enough done. I understand you're not getting enough done. But if you are sporadic, you're going to be all over the place. All over the place. And that's no fun, guys. That is no fun. That is no fun at all. Number 16, guys. Momentum builds gradually. Speed increases as repetition continues. Yeah. Speed increases as the repetition continues. I found that when you have stopped worrying about what's going to happen, that's when it starts to happen. Number 17, input that you have, those inputs define the outcomes all the time. I like to think of this very similar in technology, in engineering. We call it combinational. And so with a combinational logic circuit, the output is always based on the two inputs. If I give it certain values, it'll always have that output. If I change the order, depending on what it is, it'll always have the output that would have if I ran those values again. So we call that combinational logic as opposed to stored logic. I won't get into it now, but the reason I'm saying that to you is that when you put the same stuff in, you use the same recipe, you should get the same outcome. What you put in determines what you get out, right? If I want to add two numbers and I put a 1 in and a 1, I'm always going to get 2 as long as I'm adding, right? If I'm multiplying, I'm going to get 1. If I divide, I'm also going to get, right? 1 goes into 1 time. But if I add, I'm going to get 2. So we need to know the inputs, and the circuit needs to know what are we doing with the inputs. You could think about this with colors, right? Right? Yellow and blue makes What? What does yellow and blue make? Yellow and blue makes green. Yellow and red makes orange. Red and blue makes violet. But everybody knows yellow and blue makes green. That's a pretty popular one. So why am I saying this to you? When we have the same order, we have the same input. So if I put red in, red, right, in, and I put yellow in, I'm going to get orange. If I put yellow and blue, I'm going to get green. All the time, not just one time, all the time. That is combinational logic. It's based on the inputs. Number 18, guys, volume creates impact. I'm not talking about speaking loudly. Repetition multiplies its effect. Volume, we're talking about numbers, quantity. Number 19, guys, small shifts reduce risk. Gradual change is easier to maintain. It's easier to maintain. That's an important one. Gradual change is easier to maintain, right? It's easier to adjust as well. If something, let's just say, is off a little bit, like let's say you're filling a cup of water and the cup is, let's say, maybe less than an inch to the top, you can gradually change that. If you had the cup at, let's say, it's an 8-inch cup, well, to go from 1 to 8 is not so quick. It's not gradual. But if I say go to 1 to 2, 1 to 2, then 2 to 3, gradual is easier than just going 1 to 8, right? Also, like in the car, if you want to accelerate and you start off at 20, you go to 25. You don't just go 20. You just go real quick. You accelerate slowly. That's the way you should do it anyway. There's a lot of crazy people that just kind of hold their foot down until they get where they want to be, or they get a ticket, 1 to 2. Number 20, guys, big change starts small. And you might think because there's no change, it means nothing's happening. Wrong. Large results begin with minor steps. I've said what I'm going to say now many, many times. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start so you can become great. Let me say that again. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to become great. Number 21, guys, you don't need drastic moves. You need consistent ones. Moves that are grounded. That's what you need. You need that kind of understanding. Number 22, small patterns scale. They do. They scale. Repeated behavior amplifies it over time. Small patterns can scale easily, and repeated behavior amplifies over time. And that takes the scale and expands it out. It also can go the other way, okay? If the behavior is not good, then it can descale, right? Number 23, guys, consistency long term. Discipline outperforms bursts of effort every single day, day in and day. Number 24, guys, minor upgrades stack. Yeah, they do. What happens if you stack a nickel? You get 10 cents. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. 5 nickels, 25 cents. What happens if you stack 10 pennies? You get 10 cents. So, proving my point, they stack. Improvements will accumulate. So when you start small, they stack. And thus, they compound like money does in investments. Number 25, guys, change builds quietly. Results appear after repetition. Not 1, not 2, but many cycles of repetition. And a lot of people get tired because they don't think they can do it because they don't see any glimmer, any hope. So they give up. They stop holding on. See, the difference between success and non-success is successful people just can hold on a few seconds longer. That's it. That's the only difference. Number 26, guys. Growth often goes unnoticed until it becomes obvious, until it becomes a bandwagon technique, unfortunately. Number 27, early progress feels slow because compounding takes time, right? Investments take time before you see a real ROI on your money. That's what I tell you. You can't take out a CD early. You don't want to take your money early. You want to leave it in there as long as it's somewhat stable. Same thing with stocks, right? Number 28, guys, persistence multiplies results. Staying consistent creates advantages for you and for others. But too many people are like wanting to hop around because they think the grass is greener on the other side. The truth of the matter is the grass isn't any greener over there. It just might be a perception that you have, right? But we say perceptions become our reality. But then once we get our feet into that mud, it's like, wait a minute. It's just as hard over here. In fact, it's harder over here because I don't know this way. Number 29, guys, small inputs reshape direction. Small, not large. Repeat action changes the trajectory. Repeated action changes the trajectory. You want to become good in the sport? Tennis, pickleball, skiing, golf. Practice over and over again. Repeat over and over again. Number 30, guys. Most results are delayed. Almost all results are delayed. Almost all of them. But they are still building something. And this is hard for so many people to realize that we're building something, but what we're building is not visible. Like this tube I have. You know, I finished the wonderful ice pop. But when the liquid's put in here, you know, at the factory, they're building something. It's not really a pop until it gets frozen. So it takes time. If I took the pop out too early, it wouldn't be frozen. So how many hours do you think to freeze an ice pop? Anyone to guess how many hours? 48 hours. Good guess. Overnight being the recommended time to ensure a firm, solid texture. So freezing times can vary based on recipe, mold, etc. I remember the days when we used to have to do the freezing of ice cubes. Remember that when I was born. We had the metal ice trays. Nobody probably remembers those. And yeah, I think we had to have the arm to pull it off. You had to take it to the sink. That was a pain. Like ice makers came out. That was just that was incredible. So guys, here is the shift. Stop waiting for a big moment. It's not coming. Stop waiting for a breakthrough. And start paying attention, becoming aware to what you are repeating in your life. Because, ladies and gentlemen, your results are not random. Let me say that again in case you guys had anything in your ears. Your results are not random. Your results are not random. They're happening because of the actions you're taking. They are all built from your inputs. What you put in, you put out. You might have heard the phrase many years ago, to a computer, bad input in, bad input out. Good input in, good input out. You ask somebody a great question, you're going to get a great answer. You ask somebody, you're going to get. I remember people saying to me, John, there's no bad answer. There's no questions. And so a lot of times people said that to make you feel good. But if you're asking a question that's not even related to the topic, I mean, come on, right? Seriously. So your habits, ladies and gentlemen, your patterns, and the smallest things you do consistently will always outperform the biggest thing you do once. So it's about those small, consistent actions that you're doing. And those small actions will build over time. but they don't always even shed a tiny amount of light to us, unfortunately. They seem dead. It's like a seed. You put the seed in the ground. Does anybody know the answer to this? How many days does it take, let's say, for a watermelon seed to grow? Does anybody know the answer to that? So, 3 days is within the normal window for watermelon seeds. Seed depth is 1 to 2, basically into the ground. It needs to be about 79 to 95 degrees. The moisture is important. So they germinate. When do we see full melons? When do we see full growth? We don't see it immediately, guys. So let's say I plant 20 watermelon seeds from a watermelon. And it will seem like they hadn't sprouted at all. But what do? These seeds will take some days to sprout. Okay. So here's one I have for you. How many days, okay, will it take for a full watermelon to grow from a seed? Does anybody know the answer to that? You're going to love this one. 70 to 100 days for a watermelon to grow from seed to a fully mature, harvestable fruit. Smaller varieties like sugar babies may mature closer to 70 to 80 days, while the larger varieties take 85 to 120. So great things in life, they take time. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how direction actually changes. Not all at once. Slow changes from the seed, slow germinations, slow amounts of growth. For more insights, perspectives, and key strategies to help you think clearly and act intentionally, I invite you to visit believemeachieve.com. Ladies and gentlemen, your next level is built one input at a time. Are you being consistent with what you're putting into your brain and body? Or are you just doing whatever? If you're not happy with the results, you got to change not only the input, but maybe the consistency of the input. That's important. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's always a privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you guys here. Check out believemeachieve.com, and I'll catch you real soon. Be well, everyone.